Yo, ladies and gents, Boomer here, and welcome back to another Rocket League video. Today we're going to continue our Ultimate Guide to Rocket League series, and today we're tackling 1v1. So, adjusting the series to your guys' comments on the last video, we'll be taking a look at obviously the best 1v1 player at this current moment, as well as a lower rank 1v1 match, so we can wrap it around for you guys, just to show you that the simple concepts can be worked at any level in this game. Before we get into that, I just want to remind you guys that I am a streamer over on Twitch. If you guys want to talk to me in real time or see me play other games, come stop on over for the vibes. I'm also a coach for Rocket League. If you guys want to receive an analysis or a one-on-one session with me, join the Discord and check out the coaching section there. Links will be beneath the video. If you guys also want to show some extra support, use code BOOMA in the Fortnite and Rocket League shops. Without further ado, let's get right into this. Alright, so as of recording, the current number one 1v1 player in the world is MAWKZY. For those of you that don't know, the RLCS EU 1v1 just happened, and it was MAWKZY and DRALI in the final. It was insane. So we'll probably pull a replay from one of those games, and then I'm going to go pull a 1v1 replay from, some random Diamond or Champ games, since those are around like the average rank of Rocket League. And we'll wrap it back around. But first, let's get our fundamentals and structure down for 1v1. Right, so if we were to break down 1v1 in the simplest way possible, number one, obviously it is just you versus another opponent. Number two, in an ideal world, 1v1 should be 50-50 possession, and it is one of the modes in Rocket League where you have the most time on the ball. And number three, the goal of the game mode is to create problems or force your opponent into awkward spots through forcing saves or gaining a boost advantage. You must also defend a single opponent and capitalize on their mistakes. That is the goal of 1v1. So we're going to take this formula, we're going to go analyze MAWKZY's game and then the Champ or Diamond player game, and let's get into this. Alright, let's get into this game, shall we? Good kickoff by both players, post kickoff scenario, we get a bump on DRALI, which actually ends up getting him the boost. And that is our first goal. So for those of you guys that are new to the analysis type content, I will do one full watch through of the game. And then we'll go back and break down everything. So when you get to 1v1 at the higher levels, it becomes more of a chess match. So these players are well aware of what each other are faking or what each other are capable of. And so it ends up just becoming one big mind game. And so even for something like that situation, he kind of has to respect DRALI's shot in that spot just because of the pacing that it's done at. And unfortunately for DRALI, it just ends up going bar down and MAWKZY can take his time. This is one of the spots where MAWKZY is deciding to stay up. We're going to get into all the nitty gritty of, why they choose to, shoot at certain points, especially like right there where MAWKZY chose to like dink the shot instead of like shooting it very hard. And that's something that's thinking of the play after the fact, right? He's kind of hoping he can make DRALI awkward, or if he knows if he blasts that shot and DRALI saves it, he's going to be overcommitted and he's going to speed up DRALI's counterattack. Because in 1v1, you have to be very, very careful and you have to be relevant in every single play because it's just you. There's no teammate to bail you out. There's no teammate behind you. You are the only defender at all times. So you're constantly swapping between defense and offense just in, one or two touches, which makes 1v1 one of the harder game modes, but it can still be simplified just as much as you can with 2v2 and 3v3. Almost close on the demo there. He baits DRALI into the boost there. Very, very smart from MAWKZY. I remember watching this live and Johnny Boy and Fear were just going crazy with all the delayed kickoff from both players. MAWKZY ends up getting the better 50 there. And there's another massive, massive thing which I feel like has been, talked about in ones for the longest time. And that's flipping too much can be a bad thing in 1v1. One of the reasons I tell players like 1v1 is the best teacher is because not only does it teach you when, where, and how to challenge the ball, but it also teaches you, not to overcommit yourself and how to manage your boost and how to create something that's awkward enough for the other player or difficult enough for the other player that you can get a goal out of it. 1v1 is truly the game mode that teaches the fundamentals of Rocket League of, you know, working your opponent until you can gain an advantage. And an advantage in this game is either boost advantage or straight up a demo. So, like I said, we'll get into all the nitty gritty of, you know, why these goals happen, what the decisions were that led to the goals, how they could be prevented, stuff like that. I'll try not to spend too long on the professional game. This way, you know, you guys who are wanting me to wrap it around to the lower ranks in the last video can kind of get an idea. So we'll try to keep it pretty short on the pro analysis, and then we'll get super in depth into the lower rank stuff, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of inefficient stuff. And I want everyone to know that those are things you can fix. It doesn't matter what rank you're at in this game. It doesn't matter if you're a gold, if you're a bronze, you know, you're a brand new player. These are game sense pieces that you can think about starting at any level. Obviously, they're going to be more easily applicable to higher ranks, but I'm not saying these aren't things you can have to wait to practice at a higher rank. I apologize. I'm like all over the place. I just got over a pretty bad cold, so my voice is recovering and my brain is not where I want it to be right now, but very good control here. MAWKZY has to respect it. Very good Chow. Waits to the last second. I remember watching that one from DRALI POV and just thinking, you know, him flipping into that ball. He knew he messed up on his like touch towards the goal, and he decided to flip into it to try to 50 it through MAWKZY, and that's always going to be a defender advantage spot. And he immediately got it back right away. Uses his boost advantage to, you know, to utilize the space there. I remember this game has a very goofy like kickoff towards the end. This play is where we're going to get pretty in depth, because DRALI fakes a lot of things in that one moment. And to a point, it might be a little too much. I remember I was even thinking in the moment he might have been faking too much, doing too much, and that results in, you know, a simple defense for MAWKZY. So 27 seconds on the clock. DRALI has to get a little more aggressive. He does. Just parks kind of in front of MAWKZY there. This game was like both players fighting tooth and nail. It was very entertaining to watch. And then MAWKZY calls the bluff on the delay kickoff. And you can't fault DRALI. He's got to do something. And that's one of those spots where he's taking a gamble and MAWKZY calls his bluff. So ends up in his net. DRALI gets one right back. Classic. For those of you that complain about kickoff goals in 1v1, you can see even at the highest level, it is still that much of a difference in reading your opponent's kickoff. Speaking of which, I am planning on making a kickoff like video soon. For those of you that want all the iterations of what kind of kickoffs you can do in this game and how to counter those as well. All right, and that is GG. So we got quite a lot of goals to unpack here. It'd be easier if I just reload the replay, to be honest. So let's begin. Right, so post kickoff scenario. Both players have no boost. And you have to play ball here. The reason you have to play ball here is because if you leave this and go for boost, it's just not going to be ideal. If you're MAWKZY, you're going to open up an angle for DRALI to, you know, take one touch, grab a penny, and then rip a shot. So it's better to stay here and take the initial, like, post kickoff 50 again, and then go from there. He ends up taking it just a little too much with the side there, and he ends up flipping into it, and DRALI ends up just like delaying his flip just a tiny bit, right? And so this ends up, you know, kind of MAWKZY hits it into DRALI. DRALI's a wall, and so MAWKZY tries to bump DRALI as soon as he recognizes his mistake, and this ends up helping DRALI because DRALI then uses the bump to recover and win the boost, and that's an advantage gained. So something as simple as, you know, he was patient on this 50, which I feel like a lot of players would immediately try to flip into that right here to try to get it through MAWKZY. And most of the time, if you do that, you're going to pinch it towards the corner and most likely hit MAWKZY towards that corner boost. So it's better to try to take that 50 to the side, because even if MAWKZY does take it right, that 50 is most likely going to go to the sidewall, and DRALI can use the momentum to get that mid boost. But well played by DRALI. Post kickoff scenario again. So immediately there are things to cover, right? In 1v1, you have to recognize what your opponent can threaten from the spot. The ball is not in a scoreable position. As soon as he gets to this boost, the ball is now scoreable, right? This angle is now scoreable. It's, yeah, sure, it's going to be a difficult angle, but he has to play the ball here. He cannot play for pennies just because he knows DRALI is going to beat him to that corner boost. So right here, you know, he might be just testing the water, see what DRALI is going to do. If DRALI is going to jump, stay in front of it, whatever. He flicks just to see if DRALI is going to jump, right? As soon as you have to be paying attention to your opponent as well. I feel like players, even in 1v1, when there's only one player to look at, very much struggle to do so. So right here, he's just kind of testing DRALI, then he goes for a clear, right? He needs to relieve some of this pressure, kind of chase DRALI down the sideline so he can go get boost, right? Obviously, you have to know you're going to concede the possession, but you don't want to give him a comfortable possession, right? So at this point, DRALI kind of recognizes he's hit the ball away, and he doesn't want to slow down because he knows MAWKZY's chasing him. This could be a reverse Uno situation off the rip. If DRALI slows down, MAWKZY gets the kill. It's going to be a free goal. So opts for the mechanical play. MAWKZY decides to go very far back. You know, grabs his back boost. And now you have to be looking at the situation, right? So this touch right here, and he peels away. This opens up the opportunity for a hook shot across net, right? So his threat detection, you can see, turns in just a little bit here. His threat detection is expecting, you know, a ripped shot. And so DRALI nearly hits a perfect shot. And so, again, right off the rip, MAWKZY is paying attention to what DRALI's doing, right? He's going to filter, grab the corner boost, probably turn. He could go again, and he could ego chow this. So we flick just to see if he's going to jump again, right? Now you get him to jump. And you can see the mind game already begins, right? Now that you jump, he's going to try to park under you, bump you, slow you down, win your boost. And this now opens up the creativity side of things, right? So you kind of have to work for these little gaps of space in ones. So he's threatening a doomsy. And you can see anticipation from DRALI right here. You know, once he sees the first touch, he immediately goes up to block the doomsy because that is the immediate threat. But if you sit on the floor there in that spot, you make yourself very susceptible to getting dunked, right? So that's the optimal choice to defend in that spot. Very good pressure from MAWKZY. He knows he has the boost advantage, right? So putting in a little challenge just to make DRALI's F a little harder, and a little information check right there after the chow, just to see if he lands, if he recovers. Now he knows he's going to beat him to the shot. And this is another mind game thing, right? He knows that DRALI is kind of caught out. DRALI also knows that MAWKZY knows that he's kind of cut out. So, or caught out, sorry. Apologize. So it becomes a mind game of MAWKZY's thinking, oh, DRALI might panic here and think I'm going to rip the shot as soon as possible. So I might catch him with a dink shot. And MAWKZY does get the shot off, but DRALI is very patient, right? If you pay attention to your opponent's card, you can tell what they're doing. As soon as he stops boosting here, you know he's not going for the immediate shot, and he's not going for a hard shot. He is not saving his flip, right? He double jumps. So very patient defense from DRALI. Again, MAWKZY winning the boost advantage, touch over the top, and a 50 to finish the goal. So this is what I'm talking about, of gaining your advantages and then working your opponent into awkward spots. Obviously, at the higher level, they're going to be able to defend and save these things a lot more. But at the lower level, it should be easier for players to score, right? especially when your opponents are not DRALI or MAWKZY level defense. These are things you can think about. Obviously, your defense will have to be pretty equal to your opponents as well. Very, very patient defense from MAWKZY here. So, when you shadow, you cover the angle towards the net. If we were to look at what DRALI is threatening, right? His angle towards the net would be like a 45-degree flick on the across side of the net. So it would be the right side of the net. Okay? So MAWKZY is covering that line. I don't know how I just swapped cameras like that. My bad. So he's playing patient. If DRALI is going to flick, he has that covered, right? DRALI decides not to flick, so he jumps when DRALI jumps. Play elevation first, get the 50, gets bumped a little bit. And you can see they're not in a rush to really play boost in this spot. So it's you decide based off what your opponent decides, right? He recognizes DRALI is going to turn in after this initial 50. Instead of racing to the boost, MAWKZY stays here and doesn't go get the boost. Takes another 50 with DRALI, and then once he sees DRALI's left for boost, he then clears into space to where he can get a good possession and boost. All right, this is kind of a tough spot, and DRALI knows that MAWKZY needs boost, so little ego child there. If he gets a good bounce, it could be a good goal. It's another like gambling play right there. And again, MAWKZY very, very strong in his defensive possession. Even with DRALI that close, you know, kind of gains the right information here. Right, you can see DRALI still. And that's something that's very important when you're dribbling the ball in ones as well. You know, you can still see your opponent, see what they're doing. So even right here on the initial thing, he's just kind of paying attention to DRALI. And because DRALI's movement is a little sporadic, right? Kind of throws a fake chow here to try to get MAWKZY to flick. And then once he turns in again, MAWKZY tries to play an elevation touch. And DRALI does well to meet him. And now immediately MAWKZY trying to go for a bump as soon as DRALI's landing. So you can see why flipping is a bad thing in 1v1, because these higher level players will wait for you to flip, right? And so they'll catch you when your car is landing. You can't do anything about your car landing. It's one of the best times. I know Abjack has talked about that so much in the past. It's one of the best times to be going for a demo. This play, I remember DRALI barely missed his mid boost right here. And you can argue it's because he didn't take an extra second to kind of like line that flip up right here, right? He flips just a little too early, and you can see just that difference. He skims his boost, and he does get this, but then MAWKZY knows that he's going to try to get that boost, so he's just playing the ball here. He goes, oh, okay, I'll turn on it. And that little bit of boost management, right? He saves just a tiny, tiny bit of boost. If he takes this turn with 0 boost and loses his momentum, you know, he can't boost with this ball, and DRALI's going to catch up and demo him most likely, so... Well played from MAWKZY right there. Double delay kickoff. So this is something that's a little bit more of a high level player skill, and that's, you can tell what kind of kickoff somebody's doing by their nameplates. And it's also an anticipation thing, right? As soon as a player goes down a goal, and now that the Spanish kickoff has been such a popular thing in Rocket League, you kind of have to expect some sort of different kickoff from the opponent. And that's something you can tell by the nameplate, right? So it's clear that DRALI speed flips. And that's something that you need hours and hours and hours of seeing. I'm not saying you need tens of thousands of hours, right? Just by the motion of what his nameplate kind of goes up and then comes back down. That is the nameplate doing a speed flip, right? That's something you can tell, but you can also see that DRALI's nameplate stops approaching, right? And maybe, you know, it could be props to MAWKZY for also expecting DRALI to do a delayed kickoff. You can see both players know, and because it's a kickoff, it shouldn't be treated any different than a normal 50. And that, I feel like that's another misconception players have in this game. A kickoff is just a 50 in the middle of the field, right, with a countdown. So you can tell both players, even though they know what's going on, they're not wanting to flip into this, right? They both single jump, and they take a very stiff 50. DRALI kind of uses his flip once he makes first contact, and MAWKZY kind of just stays pretty stiff. And so this results in a very, very stiff 50, right? And so because MAWKZY doesn't choose to flip immediately, you know, he delays his flip just a second more after the contact's made, and then he uses it to recover. and then he kind of like forces DRALI to own goal. You can see it's that much of a difference, just like those milliseconds of decision making, right? Nice, another single jump kickoff. You can see they both kind of use their flip after the fact. DRALI kind of got a little bit of elevation, so he gets a better 50. Right? And then he bumps MAWKZY a little bit. And MAWKZY so close. I don't know how he doesn't get that. So they're pretty... Oh, it's because DRALI just like prevents his animation from his flip animation from going through just a little bit. And that flick was absolutely crazy from DRALI. So this is something, again, creating something very, very awkward for the opponent. Right? As soon as you know you got the boost advantage. Obviously, we're not going to be doing this in Diamond and Champ. That's a different type of flip manipulation that not even most high-level players understand how to do. So, again, just making something very, very awkward. Now you can see MAWKZY's very awkward, and so he's just playing elevation using his boost advantage. And you got to pay attention. He's not flipping into the shot. Right? Because if MAWKZY does meet it, you know, he wants to take a stiff 50 on the goal line. And he was getting the flip reset. So in case he needs to recover or in case he needs to dunk, he has a flip reset. It's a very, very good play from DRALI. Alright, so again, you can see how they're switching up the kickoffs, right? So on diagonal, MAWKZY kind of like pushes into the ball and then flips a little bit later. And then DRALI stops his boost just a little bit before he arrives at the ball, right? So these are kickoff iterations that not a lot of players attempt to do or attempt to utilize. You can see, again, testing the waters. He's kind of just flipping towards DRALI to see if he'll let him, right? Once he sees DRALI's turning in full speed, he just gets out. Prioritizes recovery. He did his job, right? He kind of baits the ball out from DRALI. You can try to get boost in a ball. Very good play from both players here. DRALI trying to go for the immediate, like, pop in case there's an insta challenge, right? He's paying attention to MAWKZY, and MAWKZY recognizes what DRALI is doing, so he fakes, you know, that insta challenge, goes back onto the backboard, and now they take the 50, right? So DRALI is trying to play like a low 50 right here, right? So MAWKZY would hit it into him, and MAWKZY has to play it kind of down. Could have been scoreable for DRALI. Again, he kind of has to just clear the ball here, so he can go get boost. Now he has to respect the opponent's possession. That boost is not going to spawn for him. And it ends up being a flick. So this is something that's really interesting because, like, inner clock timing for this boost, right? Especially after DRALI just took that. You got to know it's going to be down for a little while. You should just play pads here. But again, even one of the best players, if not the best player in the world in 1v1 right now, makes that mistake. And very, very good punish from DRALI. Kind of just baiting him in, getting closer with the flick to up the percentage, you know, of the shot actually going in. And it's just a flick around MAWKZY. Beautiful. Single jump kickoff again. You can see the game of fakes just comes out as soon as the kickoff has contact. Now, this is one of these spots where DRALI knows he's kind of overcommit and he knows he's on low boost. But it's these challenges that kind of prevent him from getting scored on, right? Because if MAWKZY gets any little bit of space with that boost advantage, it could be very dangerous for DRALI when he's overcommit. Nice. So again, paying attention to what your opponent's doing. You can see DRALI's backwards on the wall. So no reason for him to not go for that. His car ends up kind of like spinning out on the wall, so DRALI recovers first. Right? He could flick, he could insta-shoot. Kind of just testing to see, you know, these players get close enough to pressure by presence, right? So you can kind of try to bait a flick out. Excuse me. A little bit of an overcommit by DRALI there. MAWKZY's really trying to play for a demo right there. And again, this patient defense, right? He covers both scenarios, right? If DRALI shoots this low, he can get it. If DRALI shoots it high, you can also get it. A thing that would be a massive, like, thing to do for DRALI would be backflip in this spot. It'd be difficult to not really hit the ball, especially when you're kind of boosting at it. But that's something I used to see Fairy Peak do. And I still think Fairy Peak does it to this day. He would, you know, that's one of these spots where you're already threatening, you know, a shot on the target. So I would love to see like a backflip and then maybe MAWKZY kind of like drives off and fakes himself. So sweaty with the bumps driving underneath each other. You can see they're both trying to do it. It's a very, very aggressive game. Tries to get a quick read there. And you can see they're just aware of all these things, right? Once he realizes he's missed, he's like, okay, he's on low boost. I'm going to try to demo him. DRALI knows he's going to try to demo him. And then, you know, he could still shoot it. So MAWKZY kind of has to just like react and touch it. These high level 1v1 games are incredible. What a save from MAWKZY. Nearly a perfect shot from DRALI as well on low boost. Good 50, good pressure. He's playing much more aggressive in this ending part of the game. Has to respect DRALI's reset. Waits the last second. So this was the goal I was talking about where I knew we were watching from DRALI POV on the actual live stream. This touch looks rough. Like his initial catch comes off a little weird. Definitely not how he wanted it. He does a good job to get to it. But the problem is he ends up wasting too much of his boost. So right here, I was kind of thinking he would just let it go down to the ground and take like a low 50, which I think he attempted to do, but he realized that MAWKZY could have beat with elevation, so he kind of just like tries to get in front of it really quickly. But he ends up just like pinching it to the side, and that ends up just being a free goal for MAWKZY. Good patient defense, as always. Nice, still. This is an incredible goal from DRALI, by the way. Kind of just like tanking the bumps. That's one of the normal kickoffs finally. And you can see what I'm talking about of, you know, that immediate flip after the kickoff, right? You don't want to hit this into the corner boost. So he's just trying to tank those bumps to win that boost. And then you can see he immediately pickpockets the possession, you know, to prevent an immediate flick. He's not only bumping into MAWKZY to slow him down, but he's also pickpocketing the ball, and then he immediately is turning it around. And you can see MAWKZY just decides to jump. You can argue if MAWKZY didn't jump like how he did, he could probably have saved it. Because DRALI just turns it around very, very quick. Nice use of the power side there. And the boost advantage, of course, right? It's a massive play. Another normal kickoff. Single jump from DRALI. Normal kickoff from MAWKZY. Yeah, and this is the one that I said DRALI was faking just a little too many things, right? So the immediate pop, right? You can obviously go for an air dribble bump in the spot, right? And he knows that. MAWKZY knows that. So he tries to play an elevation touch to the backboard. That's his first thought. So then once he realizes that MAWKZY probably has the read on the double tap, right? He fakes this. And then he was gonna go for the shot once he realized MAWKZY wasn't gonna read it. And then he faked again, right? Because I was thinking he was going to try to catch, you know, the fake after the double or like go for a reset. But he ends up just like hitting the ball kind of into MAWKZY with that last touch, which could have been a reset, right? Then it ends up clearing for MAWKZY. He can't get his flip out in time, and then it's just an open net for MAWKZY. And I think this is the weird kickoff. No, never mind. Okay, good single jump kickoff. And I think DRALI kind of like messed up here. Ends up like reversing, and then he gets like clip bumped by MAWKZY's like side of his car. And then it's just an elevation touch over the top. And then DRALI ends up getting it right back. So you can see this game kind of went to the very end, right? And DRALI gets the payback. Right, how his car comes off, just gets in front of him so he can't reverse, and then sometimes the kickoffs are genuinely just like that. I think this is the one where MAWKZY reads the... Yeah, he reads the delay. So this is like another gamble, right? He just immediately speed flips and then plays the shot instead of trying to fake with DRALI. And then this is the one that DRALI actually pulls off, right? Back to back. He's like, surely you won't expect me to do it back to back. It's a non-stop mind game, so... Obviously, that is the highest level of 1v1 we're going to get to. At this current point in time. So let's go do the champ and diamond replay. Alright, so I literally just went and pulled like a random diamond 3 champ 1 like 1v1 replay. It looks like both these players are grand champ. So the funny thing about ones is people don't play it. Right, so you'll find a lot of players. The ones ranks are a little strange. Anything I'd say like around GC2 to, and this player looks very speedy and mechanical for a like a diamond in 1v1. Zap dashing, wall dashing all around the field. Looks very, very mechanical, but too aggressive, doing too much. Meanwhile, the other player is kind of just like not doing anything. Even the right stick movement's so funny, bro. Anyway, the funny thing about ones is you'll kind of find like champ and grand champ players in the diamond ranks. You'll find like grand champ 2s, grand champ 3s in like the champ ranks, and then you usually find SSLs in like GC2, GC3, and SSL and ones. So I would imagine these are normal grand champ players in like 2v2 and 3v3, but when it comes to ones, they're a lot lower. Maybe I should have picked like a plat 1v1 game. You guys let me know. I wouldn't mind continuing the series. Good bump. You can see there's too much going on already off the rip. This player already is kind of like not aware of the situation and what they're trying to present to the opponent. They could just be trying to play as mechy. What a shot, by the way. As mechy as possible and as fast as possible to try to confuse the opponent or not give the opponent time to decide. But it's too sloppy, which is the problem. And this is kind of something that's most grand champ players actually struggle with. They kind of forget the simplicity of the game because they want to be fast and mechy, and they think high-level players play as fast as possible every single time. I don't know why that misconception happens, but just by example, you just saw the DRALI and MAWKZY game of, they're not holding down they're not taping down their boost button everywhere they go. They're not forcing literally everything, spamming wave dash. Yeah, it's just a good, well shot from the, shot? I can't even speak, bro. Good shot from the Varan player. Varan 007. Yeah, this Orion guy could be dangerous if he... right? He's clearly a little bit... Let's watch a little bit from Varan. He's clearly a little bit more mechanical and can read the game just a little bit faster than Varan, but Varan seems to be very calm and composed kind of play. I don't know what he's doing with the right stick clicks in these players, man. He's flicking the right stick, bro. Okay. Pause. Nice. Good 50. Oh my goodness. See, you can tell these players are not really thinking as deep as the higher level players, right? They're kind of just like throwing themselves at the ball. They don't really think about how they chow the ball. They kind of just play whatever 50 and then it's very sloppy, Rocket League. Nice, good first touch. Grabs a reset, fakes it, and Orion own goals. Okay. Interesting. This one's going to be fun to break down, and it shouldn't take as long just because the mistakes for why these goals are going in are going to be a lot easier to talk about. I don't know why he's doing that many wall dashes, man. So this is kind of where I get to the point where it makes me wonder if these players watch like professional gameplay or they study professional gameplay and try to implement things into their own. Because I feel like they would realize that pro gameplay is not always played at this pace. Grand Champ ranks are truly where the game gets very, very chaotic, so it kind of lacks the structure. It's a goal for Varane. So this is one of these games that might be tilting for a player like Varane because, he can't really work his advantage against Orion as well, and especially because this Orion player recovers very quickly. He's constantly on the ball. He's constantly throwing himself at the ball, but if this Varane player were to just take like low 50s, delayed 50s, fake things a little more, you could definitely utilize that against an overly aggressive player. It's typically or just solid defense, right? Just wait for Orion to overcommit himself. He does flip a lot. He's wall dashing everywhere. He's zap dashing everywhere. He's a player that would be very easy to demo as well. Right, that should be a free goal right there. Nice. Good punish. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. his kickoff could use a little work too. He's been getting bodied on a lot of his kickoffs. So for those of you that complain about people only scoring kickoffs, that screams that you also don't know how to take a kickoff. So that's something I would rather than get upset about, go into your games and watch your replays back. You know, how many of you are hitting the center of the ball? This guy's contact is, not only did he jump too high on his kickoff, his speed flip is like weird, and then, you know, he's kind of like dunking the ball down into the player who didn't even jump. That's an interesting miss from Orion. Right. And let's see the final goal. Looks like a kickoff goal. Okay. So we're going to try to break down as many of these as possible. And it should be fairly quick and easy, just so we can wrap this around to the structure of what you guys saw, right? So we just watched what is the current peak of 1v1. So now we're going to bring in the simplistic things. Okay? So let's see how this play develops off the start. Okay, post kickoff scenario. So in this current spot in time, right, both players don't have boost. The immediate thing that I would have noticed in this spot is Orion flips for that mid boost, meaning if you get this boost in time and he also turns the wrong way. So one of the reasons why this is the wrong way is because the ball's already going into this corner, right? You want to turn so that you can take and carry your momentum in a game about racing and speed and momentum, right? You want to carry that through. You can grab this boost and turn through the corner, let the ball come to you and receive it, and then you give yourself the option. You don't have to reverse up the wall and let this player just come full send, because now Varane's scared of a demo, right? This player is full driving with no thought in his head, full boosting, supersonic zap dashing. If I were this player and I made this mistake, I'd just hit the ball behind him. Literally switch and roll it across. I would roll this ball. I'm sorry, why is it not in fly mode? Why does it keep doing that? I would literally touch the ball here. He goes past you, right? And he has to turn, and then you just roll the ball this way, right? Then you give yourself a setup with boost, and you give yourself a clean possession. Or if you want to punish him, you could roll it up to this side of the wall, cuts your pinch right here. And I do that all the time to counteract this kind of play, because this player is not thinking at this current point in time. And even then, if he takes this ball out, Orion's already overcommitted, right? If he carried his momentum, he could just drive this ball, use his boost, and walk it in the goal. But instead, he makes it very, very awkward for himself and reverses up the wall, and then he lets Orion, you know, kind of hit the ball away from him. And again, there's no anticipation here, so we're kind of just sitting behind the ball, when in reality, you could just single jump 50s right there. Right? You can see him boosting. You can see him turn right here. It's like we're too tunnel vision on the ball. Then we just get dunked. That should have been a goal for Orion, but Orion's like not taking his time. He thinks he has to play as fast as possible, so his shot just ends up going into the floor. And again, this is like a whole lot of nothing. We're just touching the ball to touch it in this lobby right now. And then finally, Varane with a good outplay, right? A little information check just to see. Okay. Let him jump. Peel away. Nice little Yui. Touch over the top. Very good outplay, right? This is using the opponent's momentum against him. Use the boost that you have. Boost away. Get a better angle. Get your turn off earlier. Boom. Ball's in your advantage. It's bouncing towards you. This is a perfect play. If he did this every single time, he wouldn't have I think he lost to this player. I'm not so sure. Okay, post kickoff scenario. Okay, you know he's gonna get the boost, so like grab some pennies. Any pennies right here. We don't have to flip. This turn is also very, very weird. We should just be prioritizing getting boost here. Penny right there in front of him. Give yourself an angle so that you can shoot this ball over the top of his head. Especially when he's like not paying attention and he's zap dashing and he has to turn still. Like that, there's plenty of time there to just single jump and shoot that over his head before he's ready. Right here, he's blindsided. You could shoot it right here. If Varane has 2 pennies, you just shoot that over the top. It doesn't have to be a hard shot at all. Again, we're conceding the space. And then we just let him shoot. We're just inviting him to shoot. So this is one of these spots where I tell players conceding space in ones is dangerous because you're not shadowing anything. You're not covering anything. And then he just defaults to net on 0 boost. What are you going to save in this spot? The only thing you're going to save is if he burgs the shot and shoots it on the floor. So you got to give yourself a chance to save it. Right? So instead of doing this, right? Instead of just flipping and turn the car on, get this penny, get this penny, get this penny, get this penny. And then you don't have to leave. You don't have to go to net. You could be right here on this, shooting it, or 50ing it even at this current point in time. There's no reason for you to be inviting the player to shoot. Okay, post case scenario, he's got you beat to the boost. Go get boost. Nice. Now we defend. So here, I don't know why we're letting the player bump, right? It's like we're not paying attention to his car. He did not get the reset. It's almost like Varane thinks he has the reset or something. Right? He doesn't. So now, get the touch out. If he literally just jumps now, turns his car down, front flips the ball away to the sidewall, he can just walk this in the net. We don't chow, we get bumped. And then Orion just plays the ball back to himself again. So, like I said, 50-50 possession, right? But 50-50 possession is only going to happen if you're also challenging your opponent, right? Unless you're just happy to give them all the possession in the world. It's like, how many times are you actually going to be able to save the ball from this player? Right? He's already struggling reading him, so why is he letting the game be easier for him? Again, it's like, it's too many fake chows. Right? You could chow now, you could go dunk him. You could chow right now, you could dunk him, and then you just let him pop it over him. Especially when you have boost and you're going towards the play, there's no reason to be fake chowing them. You know, if Orion was kind of like prepping for a 50, or it looked like he was going to 50 you well, then yeah, I'd see a fake chow is good in that spot, but he wasn't, he had no thought in his head. This is kind of like troll too. I don't know what Varane was thinking here. He's thinking like he can get a demo off or something when it's like you can see the player turning around and he's about to bang it. And Orion could have scored this if he was thinking a little bit. Good demo from Varane post bang. You see him like, bro, you literally see him driving at you. Good 50. See, in that spot, like, you've already been playing against this player for, you know, almost half the game now, and you're not adjusting to him, right? You know he's over aggressive, right? If he goes here, look, like, go info check, use your right stick, and look what he's going to do. If he's going to jump again, let him jump again, right? Then you could be literally playing this bounce right here. And you wouldn't, he slotted it. Never mind. He's the GOAT. I apologize. I apologize, bro. Well done. Forget what I said. I'm a bot. Who am I, bro? Kickoff goal and W. All I'm saying is, especially when you get to these rinks, all the simplicity of the game goes out the window. When in reality, like what a plat or a gold would be good at would work against these players. Oof. Okay, let's continue with the goals, right? Nice. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, right? If you know he's gonna go, let him go. Now you've bumped him. Now you get boost. Now you punish him. This is kind of troll too. Even rolling it up the wall, you could cut that in. He's in your corner, bruh. You literally he has no boost. You take one touch this direction, or if you're confident, you kind of go in the net and then you just shoot it, bro. He's on your side with 0 boost. There's no reason. You're just letting him get back into the play and get boost and get back on defense. Because we go for a mech play. And then we get a goal because he's like trolling his defense. This is one of the things where players need to understand this is a goal, not because you work the player. This is a goal because the defense is so bad. Right? That is not something that's going to help you improve in that spot. Because you didn't punish the bad decision that the player made. So I'll see tons of players who ask me for coaching, or tons of players that I've coached in the past, kind of get stuck at certain ranks, and then they'll play against players like this, or duos like this, trios like this, and they don't know what to do. They just get overwhelmed because the players just nonstop chase the ball, right? And they don't know how to punish it. And he's going for your back boost. I feel like if Varane just looked at Orion a little more, this would be a lot easier of a game. Obviously, they don't have the mechanical capabilities that the professional players have, but I'm talking about simply the decision making. Right? If you pay attention to what your opponent's doing, it makes your decision making a lot easier. Okay, he's got possession. Can't go. So don't. And he decides to pre-jump. If he gets the reset there, you're screwed. If he scoops that over you, you're screwed. And then we're playing the ball like into the spot where he's headed to get the boost. Now you're 0. Now you're giving him possession. And then we're jumping and wave dashing. And then we go to net again. We're conceding the space and we turn backwards. It's always going to be a difficult save, bruh. So yeah, I don't know. These players make themselves way more awkward than they need to. Nice. Well done. Yeah, they both, I think every kickoff this game has been a pinch kickoff. These players definitely need to work on their contact in the middle of the ball so it doesn't spill like that. Or just learn the single jump kickoff. Oof. It was a good try. I think he was trying to hit it to his corner boost. Good try. See what happens here. I think it's just a whiff. Yeah. And then we lose a kickoff goal. So yeah. I mean, going forward, I think players just need to stick to a very simplistic structure. Recognize when they have clean possessions. Watch their opponents more so that they can capitalize on the mistakes the opponents make, but also not play sloppy Rocket League like this. Right? And the best way to do that is obviously play a lot. First of all, this player needs to play a lot slower. And he's going to keep playing like that because he's winning games doing that. Because he's playing against players like Varane who also don't know how to punish the overly aggressive. Players who play as aggressive as Orion definitely will improve quicker because he's going to make a lot more mistakes. And he'll be able to understand, hopefully, while he's making those mistakes, and then be able to fix those in his gameplay. Meanwhile, players who play a little too passive like Varane kind of just get stuck most of the time because they just need to be a little more efficient. Varane did not play a bad ones game, like in the overall sense of things, but he definitely was giving Orion way too many possessions when he doesn't need to, and he's making his defense a lot harder than he needs to be. Right? Especially when it's only you versus another player. The least you can do is like shadow and just bait the ball out or bait the shot out, just to see what the opponent's capable of. But it seems like every single time Varane got scored on in this game, he's essentially working himself. So if he's not conceding a kickoff goal, this one he goes to net and grabs no pennies, doesn't fake chow, doesn't stay on the ball, doesn't take an extra 50 when he can, he just leaves because he's scared. This one it looks like he overcommits for no reason. Right? This is a spot where he could go demo him. This would be a good spot to demo. Like you could get him, you can catch him when he goes up the wall there. And then even then he's kind of like just going way too fast as well. He's trying to match Orion's speed, and then he takes like a terrible 50 and just gets popped over him. And this is just not creative enough. Right? What are we threatening here? So when I was talking about the DRALI and MAWKZY replay, right? You would take a touch here and just see what your opponent's doing first. You have the advantage in the spot. There's no reason you should be jumping early here. You know, just take that pop. If the opponent insta-trials you, then you have to be ready to 50, which I don't know how Varane would know because he keeps putting himself blindside, right? He can't see the player. He would get dunked immediately if Orion decided to continue to go. But for some reason, Orion speed flips, zap dashes, goes supersonic, and then turns away. So the decision-making from both players is definitely very, very questionable. I would prefer to just see like a normal front flip flick, right? Towards the net. Just make him jump, make him use his boost, and then go get his corner boost, and then work him when he's 0 boost. Instead, we just jump early, we give him a free goal. And I think the others are, yeah, and then this one again. So we don't chow here, right? You could go up the sidewall here. You're already here. Might as well, right? Throw a chow in. He doesn't. Okay, right here. He doesn't have a 50. He's failing at a flip reset. 50. That's a scoreable ball right there. And then he just lets him pop it. So every single goal that Varane scored in this game, or conceded in this game, he beat himself. Right? Again, this one he could have peeled out, grabbed 2 pennies, and just shot that ball over the top. And he doesn't. And then he goes to net on 0 boost, 1 penny. And then he turns away when the player is already lining up a shot. It's really the decision making that makes a difference. And these are grand champion players. I thought I was gonna get actual diamond or champ rank. I think I did diamond 2 just to kind of get in between the ranks. And we have grand champ players and diamond ones playing like this. So it's crazy that they can get grand champ in 2s, but they can't get grand champ in 1s. It's completely different game mode. So yeah, I'm gonna stop ranting. I think that's long enough. Hopefully the point got across. Simplicity is best. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys found this useful or helpful, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. Check that noti bell and join the Discord to stay up to date with when I post or go live. Much love as always. I appreciate you all. I'll see you guys in the next one or on stream. Peace.